Doc, sichapia story.
Wasi, jana nilikuwa napiga ndirao mtaani. Nilikuwa na 20 bob kwa tenje. Nikauliza, tashindaje vimeja na 20 bob kwa tenje? Kiasi. Huyu meka kapopwa kutoka chini ya ndai akadai, si ubet na Betika ni grand jackpot. Na 20 bob unaweza shinda hadi 50 mili. Nikamshow. Lakini pia sina bundles. Alafu madhawa mayai litokea tu akidai, lakini na Betika unaweza bet bila bundles.
Tulia. So unaweza betika na mbao ushinde 50 mili bila bundles.
Kabisa. Ukibetika unapata more. Pata more na Betika.
Hii story imeletwa kwako na Betika, the official sponsors of happiness. Gambling can be addictive. Play responsibly. Not for persons under 18 years of age. This advert is authorized and regulated by the Betting Control and Licensing Board. License number BK281. Betika, jukwaa la mabingwa.
Hi everyone, this is Radull Live. Thanks for tuning in yet again, and we have a fabulous interview lined up for you. Just a reminder from our partners Betika that they do have the cash out option. What that means is when you have placed a bet on a multi-bet, and let's say 3 games have been played and the 4th game you're not so sure of how it's going to turn out, you can actually cash out at that point and earn your winnings up until that point. So make sure you take advantage of the cash out option. Remember, you can play the Betika Grand Jackpot with just 20 shillings and stand to win 50 million on the 17 matches, or you place a stake of 99 shillings and you could win 100 million shillings. Now, welcome to the show, guys. Today, we're going to talk about rugby with none other than I am a fan, Andrew Amonde. I think I am your biggest fan.
Thank you. Asante Caro.
Yes.
It's nice to have me here.
It's nice. It is nice to have you here.
Yeah, I'm honored.
Former Kenya Sevens captain, currently KCB flanker, which you've been for a couple of years. First of all, congratulations on winning the Kenya Cup.
Thank you.
Again. These are how many titles?
I think this is our 8th title, and it's my 7th title with KCB.
It's your 7th title. So do you have somewhere in your house where you just put medals?
Yeah, like I have a big cabinet that is just built for trophies.
For trophies?
Yeah.
Is it full yet or there's room for more?
I keep on adding that. I keep on, the ones that I keep winning at the moment, I keep on adding them. It was already full, but it's a big cabinet.
Hey, you don't say.
Yeah.
As a national fan, I don't know about silverware.
Yeah, but God has been graceful for us, and we're able to just come out and be able to use our talent to be able to do things that we are happy to do.
I want us to actually talk about that game last Saturday, because we were all watching. As at halftime, Twitter coaches like me had written off KCB. It was 20-0 to Cabras. You're playing away. Then what changed the game?
There's a lot that come into that game, because that game was a very tough game, and we knew from the beginning it was going to be tough. For us, it was just a mental strength as a team, and together as we all have a team, and our experience was a good side. So we kept on pushing, because Cabras got their best chances in the first half, and I think I would say God favored them in the first half of the rain. They were playing very well in the rain, and unfortunately we got an accident. One of our players broke his leg and the game had to stop.
Unfortunately, but how is he? He's getting treatment?
Yeah, he's been through surgery, and we are just wishing Rocky a quick recovery as he's going through the hard times. I know he'll be back as a good player, because most of us have gone through such bad injuries in sport. So it's part of the sport, and these are things that we just hope that God can be able to heal him better and get him back into the playing field.
Spoken like a man.
Yeah.
We get these injuries, we come back, we continue with life. But take me through that game.
Yes.
You're at 20-0. If ever there was a lesson of it ain't over till it's over, it was on Saturday.
Yes. I think this is one thing that the boys really came and proved themselves to be a very good side, because we didn't have our chances in the first half. Cabras was really playing very well, and we were playing at their hands. So when we realized that what we needed to do was just to keep the ball, because they are not the best defenders in the league. So we knew if we were able to keep the ball and run the ball, now we were used to running, because we had different game plans on how to play Cabras. They had beaten us 3 weeks before, and we had a very good play. We were very aware of what they could offer as a team. So we kept on utilizing on the things they cannot do, and we kept on pushing ourselves because we knew what we could do as a team. So we went back to what we could do best and got our results.
And of course, at some point, you were sent to the sin bin, but I won't even dwell on that, because you came back and you delivered, and the whole team delivered, and congratulations to you, congratulations to the coach and the whole team. Before we actually talk more about KCB, I want us to go right back to Andrew Amonde, the child. You're deciding that...
it's rugby.
It's rugby. How are you deciding it's rugby? And it's rugby at the highest level.
I think mine was just an influence from the young guys that we used to live with in the estate. I used to be a handball player and a basketball player in high school. I didn't play any rugby in high school. Yes, this is something that most of the people know, the people who have been around rugby. I used to be a basketball and a handball player in Kisumu Boys. So when I completed my school in 2003, I ended up being in the estate, because we used to wait for another 2 years before we go into campus. So at that time, I was just at home, and there were friends who used to play rugby in polytechnics. So one day, some of my friends just called me that we go and try it out, because you are well built, you have a good body.
You look like rugby.
Yeah, you look like somebody who could play rugby. So when I got to that field at Polytechnic, I met Andrew Kwaro, the legs of Polo Congo. And this
is in Kisumu, it's in Nairobi at this point, in Kisumu.
Kisumu Polytechnic. So they were surprised that I was a huge guy, well built, I used to do gym. So when they saw me the first time they saw me at the field, they told me, if you're very serious in this game, you can go far with it, because this is a game that your body, your physical appearance can really do.
You have the natural ability.
Yes. So that's one thing they encouraged me, and they introduced me to the game. From that time, I've never turned back from rugby. I never went back to handball, I never went back to basketball. Kept on pushing my levels until I got to the national team.
We could be saying Andrew Amonde is at Afrobasket. But of course, how do you graduate then from just playing at polytechnic level, at college levels, into club, into national team?
I think it's just the mental part of it, being a very hardworking player and an open player who is willing to learn. And to be able to work with others to just get yourself better.
Take me through the opportunity you got when KCB came looking for you.
I think the first opportunity I got into rugby was playing for Kisumu FC. They exposed me to a lot of the things that the people get to learn when they are very young. So it was a young, small club. I was able to get my lesson, to get my learning, and I started to play. So as I kept on growing, I was spotted from Kisumu with KCB, with Mark Tankotieno and Wangela Simio. So I was called up to come and play for KCB. And when I got to KCB, I also got to learn from more experienced guys. I got Kinaderi Kwamalwa. So there was a lot of learning for me, because I was never a rugby player. I kept on learning until I got my first call up in Kenya Sevens. And also that part, when I got my first call up, I was still learning. I was not that experienced with rugby. I was still not at my best, because there was a lot of learning for me. And I kept on learning from every time I was in the team. And I kept on being dropped from the team, because I was not good enough to be at the national level. But I was physically good, but I would say I was not the best player to be at the national team at that time. I kept on building myself, learning, kept on growing, until I got to a level that I was in a proper national scene setup, and I was the one being called up to play.
Not just called up to play, but called up to captain.
Yes.
How did that feel, that you're not just in the national team? They've seen something in you that is captain material.
I think it was just from the hard work that I used to put in. That is something that I think I value so much in my life, because hard work will take you far. As a player, if you want to succeed more than the others, or put yourself to a better position to be called up in the national team, you have to be ready to be able to work very hard in yourself, in your skills, the things that you find that are not good for, you're not good enough at, just to get to the next level.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the national team a bit more. I just want to talk more about KCB. Yes. And I've seen like a transition sort of in Kenyan club rugby, where rugby used to be dominated by Ngong Road, so to speak, the Queens, the Impalas, the Nondis. And suddenly, in the last couple of years, it seems to have crossed over to Thika Road and Kakamega.
Yes.
Is this a direct result of the investment that, say, KCB puts in the club?
I think our sponsors have done a marvelous job at KCB. They've given us that level playing ground and a very good atmosphere to be able to grow as a rugby player. They've given us the chance to able to come in as a team, to present ourselves and to be able to use our talent to get more out of ourselves. I think it's a kudos to everybody who's looking at what KCB is doing now. It's not something that has come as a surprise. It's something that they've invested a lot on. They've invested on the players, they've invested on the club, and they've invested on our ground. So when you see KCB performing, it's not just something that has come out from nowhere. We have already invested in our coaches because most of our coaches, every time, they're sent down to South Africa to come up with good ideas or new ideas.
Because you have partnership with Western Province.
Yes, we also send some of our players just to get an experience of learning from the top nation teams and to also learn from the other top players to see what they do normally for them to be able to perform the way they've performed.
Because we all know that South Africa is a rugby giant.
Yes.
And to have that partnership with Western Province, have you, I'm assuming you've also, because I know KCB goes for, is it friendlies or competitions?
Yeah, it's just
like an exchange program kind of.
It's just an exchange program to expose the guys in a different level of playing. So you get to learn how the South Africans do their rugby, what they do to get themselves, how fit they are. So it's a process that everybody wants to learn, and a few of our young players are always sent there yearly to just get to know the experience.
What are some of the things you learn? Because I know for a fact that in South Africa the players are fully professional, whereas here we are
semi-professional.
Semi-professional.
So I think as we keep on growing, I think years to come our sports will be professional. So we are looking at a long-term period. So if we are able to expose our players to a professional level, it will raise their standard of playing. So if you see a KCB can be able to raise their standard of play, it's raising the standard of playing locally in Kenya. So that is something that KCB has given us as a group, and we have taken a chance. We have taken it wholly, and we believe in it because we have embraced it because we keep on sending guys. We keep on getting results. This is something we have done for the last 3 years, and the last 3 years we will be able to defend our trophy.
But somewhere in the middle of it, you still have to have a day job, so to speak.
Yes, that is something I'm now looking at the moment, because before I used to do KCB and Kenya Sevens. Kenya Sevens, you are contracted fully. So I would say I was fully contracted with rugby because I would do Kenya from Monday to Friday in the mornings till midday, and then from 2 to 4 to 8 in the evening I would do KCB.
So you're one of the lucky few.
Yeah, I would say among the lucky people, especially the guys who are in the Kenya Sevens group. Those are fully contracted rugby players.
They are, but they still, I even know like the Colos, the Humphreys of this world still have to go to their other jobs.
Yeah, it's difficult to balance between work if you are fully contracted at Kenya Sevens, because the whole day, I would say from 6 a.m. you are down at the grounds doing your training, doing your exercise. The earliest you can leave KRU is 2 or 3. And if you are employed or you are doing any other things,
and then you travel.
Yeah, then they're traveling every time. After every 2 weeks, you have to go away for a tour.
So you have to have a very understanding employer.
It's very difficult. But that's why we are trying. They're trying mostly now to get young guys who are not committed anywhere, who can still get their full contracts and to be able to do it fully.
But if you get your full contract, is that money enough to sustain you?
So that's the biggest issue we are running at the moment, because when KRU does not have sponsors, it's very hard to run such a course, because contracting players takes a lot of money, and that is something that KRU is struggling with at the moment, because they lack a proper sponsor who is able to undertake all those payments and to be able to keep those boys at a fully paid monthly income. Which
means, unfortunately, that your focus is divided.
So it's there, because when you don't contract them fully, they have to get other things to do for them to be able to live. So it compromises on the results that most of the people expect from the boys and expect from that team, because if they're not fully contracted, there's something that will give in. It's either they're playing or their work or they are focusing the playing.
Okay, Kenya Sevens,
yes.
Which has been your most... Okay, let's talk about Singapore. Then after Singapore, we talk about which has been your second most rewarding experience with Sevens. Let's talk about Singapore.
Yes.
You were there? Tell me what's going through your mind as you're going through game 1, game 2.
I think Singapore was just a proper side that I would say the most experienced side that Kenya has ever had. A well-groomed team, a team that was exposed to all level of play. Like before we won Singapore, we had Mike Friday, we had Paul True. We were exposed to all level of playing of rugby. So we had a very mature team going at Singapore, and we had a very confident team with a very good technical bench that understood the players and understand the best that the players could bring into the board. So for us to be able to win Singapore, we had already come close, because I remember we had beaten even New Zealand in LA, in Vegas that day. We were able to beat New Zealand 24-0. So that's not something easy, and that is not something that we take lightly, because for us to be able to beat New Zealand, that shows that we have grown as a rugby nation, because that is the hardest team to beat at rugby.
Because New Zealand are essentially number one. It's between New Zealand, South Africa,
Fiji. Yeah. So we were competing with those teams at the same level. So if you want to understand our growth at that time, we were a very good side, and that was just from the work that has been done by the union and the sponsors.
So everything came together.
Yes, and we had a very brilliant side. And if they were able to keep that for a very long time, we could have had more of Singapore's coming into this country. For unluckily, Sports Pesa fell off. So Kerry was put into a lot of compromising, and most of the players were not able to get the full contracts. So there was that division, and it led to the performance going down.
Because it's a combination. It's having the players, it's having the right coach, it's having the right financial support, it's having the right management support behind you. But how do you feel? You're in quarterfinals, you're going to semis. How confident were you were you actually thinking we're going to win this? So let's just see, one game at a time.
Remember in that Singapore game, we were in the same pool with South Africa, Scotland, and we were only able to win one game against Russia. So we beat Russia.
In the group stage?
Yeah, we beat Russia. We lost to South Africa. We drew with Scotland. So we were just lucky to go through to the next level because of the scores that we got through. We were in the same spot with Scotland. Any one of us could have gone through. So we were lucky that we didn't get more scores from. We lost to South Africa with 2 tries. So we were able to go to the next, that is quarters. We were meeting France. France was a good side. They had the Africa tour still playing. And I think from our experience, that season, we were able to beat France because we had a very experienced side. Collins, Nelson, he was just a young guy who was still coming into the system. Africa Yange was still part of the team. Oscar Uma was not in that squad. We had very good William Baka. So we had a very experienced side. So we kept on building. We were playing France in the quarters. We knew exactly what to do with France because we had beaten them before. So the next one, we went to Argentina. Argentina had beaten us in South Africa because we played semis with Argentina in South Africa. And we lost to them with 1 point score. And I remember there was an issue that we had. They had missed their conversion, and they were awarded their conversion. So it was an issue that we didn't go through to the finals in South Africa. So when we played them in Singapore, we made sure, but we were getting too late because they scored 1 try before us. So we kept on working hard, and then we got our try through Frank Wanyama, and kept on building till the last minute when Collins got the penalty, and he was able to put it through the bars, and that's what it is. We were in the semis. So from there, from the semis, we were in the finals, facing a very good side, Fiji. We just came back to our group, focused on what we needed to do. We had a very motivating coach in Benja. He motivated the boys what to do. He spoke to everyone. He kept us in a level ground that we knew what to do when we walked into that field. Just focus on our strength, and everything will just come back to us, and we got the results.
I'm getting goosebumps all over again.
Yeah.
It was a goosebump moment.
It was a tough moment. Mentally, I think we were there because we were a very good side. We knew we were strong enough to beat Fiji. We were strong enough to beat any side because from the previous game, even we lost to Fiji, the semis in Hong Kong that season before we came to that
like the week before.
Yeah, before that tour. We lost to Fiji the last minute. They scored at the last minute. So we knew exactly what we needed to do just to get the win. So we went back to our thing and we kept on working hard. Everything came to our side. We got the tries before they got their tries. Kept on getting the tries. We were not sure we were winning because we knew Fiji was still going to come back. They are a very good side of coming back. So we kept on defending, kept on bringing the senior guys. We kept on keeping them in the field as much they were feeling tired. We kept on just pushing till the 20 minutes was done, because that time the final was 20 minutes.
Yeah, the final, yeah.
Yeah, at the last whistle, that's when we were sure when Nelson Oyo crossed over for that, the last drive to take us to the 25 scores. And that's when we were sure, these people are not coming back. That was late in the second half.
And then you danced.
Yeah.
Who comes up with those dances?
So I think most of the guys that we have in the team, some of them come from homeboys, and they're very good side that they dance every time. It's their thing that they do at the homeboys. So when they come at the national team, they still practice it because it puts them in a good headspace to play. So it's something that we have come into and adjusted to, and we just do it as a norm, and I think, and we find ourselves just dancing.
Yeah, you're known for it all over the world. Every time I hear the commentator on an international game, they're like, and the Kenyans dance.
But because it's something that brings that unity in our team. You see, when we dance,
lifts the spirits.
Yeah, everybody's happy. You know, everybody's switched on when they are dancing. But when they are gloomy, they're not doing those things. You know, there's an issue. Yeah.
There's an issue. Let's talk about Benja. May his soul rest in peace.
Yes.
If ever there was a coach I wanted to get that win in Singapore, it was Benja.
Yeah.
And what's your personal experience, and what would you like to say about him as a person, as a coach?
I think Benja was one coach who came and gave us a lot. As you see, most of the boys who were able to, who have exposed our team to a very different level, most of them were picked by Benja. Even my first call-up I got from Benja. So Benja's been a father figure to us, and it's somebody who has shown us direction of most of the things. Even when we went out and learned from people like Friday, Paul True, we still gave Benja that respect, that he's the one who gave us the opportunity to be here. And he saw something in us that nobody else, even Mike Friday when he came here, he picked just the guys that Benja had picked into the squad. So Benja was a brilliant guy, a brilliant coach, who had a very good understanding of what he needed to achieve as a coach. And he gave Kenya a lot. He gave Kenya players who have exposed us to a different level, who have even won us the cup for this country. So losing Benja was a big blow to us, and we tried as much to try and do something for Benja at the Olympics, but unfortunately we were not able to bring that trophy for Benja. Yeah.
But I know where he is. He knows you guys. Yeah. I think he felt the love back.
Yeah, I know Benja is smiling where the squad is going and the way things are running now, because Benja believes on the local coaches and the young guys who are in this system, who are able to push this team to the next level. And you see now, the person who is leading this team is somebody that Benja coached, Innocent Simiu. That this is somebody who has been a senior, who understands what needs to be done for that team to be able to succeed.
Yeah. Well, may his soul rest in peace. And I wish we could honor him in some way, instead of naming roads and streets against. We should be doing this for national icons. You know.
I wish the government, because we don't take our sports as serious as most of these other countries do, because losing an icon like Benja was a big blow to this country and to our sporting nation. And they still had an idea of bringing a rugby league in this country, and it was just through people like Benja who could have such mind, just to to build more ways of employing more young guys into sports. And you see, when losing people with such brains, it's tough to get such guys into the system.
It's tough to get such guys, but we should also honor them and make them show that we felt what you gave back to this country. That Singapore, there's no Kenyan who won't tell you where they were at that Singapore moment, you know. And sport has a way of bringing people together. You forget your problems, your differences, everything. Yeah. And you're so right. And we'll talk a bit more about government support for our sport when we come back. I want us to take a quick break, and we'll see you in just a bit. Welcome back. This is Radull Live, and I'm with the former Sevens captain, Andrew Amonde, KCB flanker, Andrew Amonde. Before we continue our conversation, just a reminder that if you participate in the Betika Grand Jackpot, every single day there is a draw. And for 100 days, you go into a draw to win Nduthi. Yes, a whole Nduthi. So just make sure you're playing the Grand Betika Jackpot and have a chance to win. There are 100 Nduthis to go. So your chances are quite high. So I'm still here with Andrew Amonde. First of all, Andrew, what is Asusu? I saw someone calling you the Great Asusu.
So I've picked up a lot of nicknames in rugby, and that is just one of the nicknames. I think this is from Kenya Sevens. They just came from just giving out names, and I ended up being called Asusu.
What does it mean? Does it have a meaning?
It doesn't have a meaning. It's just a nickname.
You look like an Asusu.
I was like, wow, what kind of name is this?
Yeah, but it's a pet name. I think you're one of those players that everybody respects. You've touched everybody who knows anything about rugby, and trust me, when Kenya Sevens is playing, people have this. You're very endearing to the fans. Oh. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's an honor to know that.
Do you need to know?
I didn't know. Yeah. You know, my work is just to play, honor my call-ups and do my work. Then
yeah, but it's good that you're just being yourself, and this
Yes.
is happening. You know, you don't have to perform, you don't have to act for anybody. The decision to retire from Kenya Sevens, how did that come about? Because with me, I wanted one more season.
Wow. I think it's just from the long time I've served this country, and from my age. Seven is more played with the young guys who are still in the system, guys who can still give more, because what I've done for this country, and from my experience, it's enough to give somebody else also a chance to go to take us to the next level. The more I sit there and the more I keep on hanging to Kenya Sevens, the more we keep on denying the young guys who are coming through the system to come in and fill in on those shoes and to play.
You will be missed. You will be missed. Let's go through the two Olympics you went for. I know they didn't quite go as we had planned.
Yeah.
What would you say was the difference? What happened? Is there a logical explanation why we didn't do well at these Olympics? Or
Yeah. There's a lot of that could have gone to our way, because this is an Olympic that anyone could have won, because most of the teams went through the same things that we went through, most of the things that came with the COVID pandemic. So there's a lot of distraction for every side, and this is one Olympic that we expected any team to have gone all the way to win it. Unfortunately, we did our part, we did our training, and we are last minute country. We kept on focusing on the Olympics as the last minute. So most of these teams kept on focusing on the Olympics. Olympics is on a 4-year plan thing. And within our 4 years, we had done a lot of changes in our team. Kept on changing our coaches, kept on changing our players, we kept on bringing new systems. There was a lot of inconsistency going on at Kenya Sevens. So that is something that would build up at the future, and to the end of it, we were not able to perform the way we wanted to perform. So see, when you're focusing on an Olympic, it's a 4-year plan. Like now, we have a new squad that is coming into a system. If they're focusing on doing something at the next Olympic, this is the time now to start building towards that.
And this should be the squad that is at that
Yes,
Olympic,
so
not that was
this
tinkering in 2 years' time.
Yeah, like you see the teams that are winning Olympic, the teams are getting into the knockout or the finals. These are teams that focus on that Olympic from 4 years when they are named. From the time that one ended, the last one that we had in Tokyo, they're already now focusing on the next one. They know who is coming into a system, who is going to stay at a system for these 4 years, who is able to deliver at that level, and they keep on building and they keep on exposing those guys until they get to a level where they're able to bring that gold medal. So for us to be able to just to focus for Olympics, the last year to Olympic, it's not good enough for us to go out and win an Olympic.
That's not how you prepare for the greatest sporting event.
Yes. So if we want to win that Olympic, we are a very good side and we are very talented side. With everything that we are not giving, we are still able to go out and compete very good with the high top teams. So that is not good enough for us just to go out and compete. we've gotten to a level that people expect us to go out and win an Olympics. So for us to be able to do that, we must plan now. We must start the planning now. We must expose those players, give them that level ground of playing, give them those good gyms that they need to work on. Because if I take you to the KRU gym now that we used to go for Olympics, yes,
I've seen it on people's Insta stories.
So you see, those are the small things that we keep on ignoring, and those are the things that build a good Olympian.
Those are what other countries are investing in.
Those are the things that people are investing in. We don't have we cannot be going to Olympics and we don't have training balls. We have to depend on tournament balls. Like before the pandemic, there were no tournaments. We didn't have training balls. So we don't expect us to go out and win Olympics. The smallest things that you ignore, those are the biggest things that make an Olympian. So most of the things are ignored in a ground level, and when you go to a top level, you expect the players to go and perform. There are things that hinder them. Even God cannot bless you on something that you have not worked for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is why we drive from. You want to win an Olympic, invest in these guys. Give them that good atmosphere to be able to perform well. Give them that opportunity now to expose themselves on different levels. Let them play these tournaments. They'll be able to bring us something. Then expect something from them. Invest on them, you'll expect something from them. But don't just put them there, give them that brand name of Kenya Sevens, and then you expect them to just go out and bring a miracle. It will never happen. We'll be beaten.
I mean, that's so important. And unfortunately, it's in a lot of our sports. I see volleyball girls, the same thing. We're not having international friendlies.
Yes,
We're not.
Yes. The same thing happened to basketball. After them qualifying for the
Afro-basket.
Nothing was done to them. They were just given that name. You performed well to get to that level. They were never exposed to a different level. They were never exposed to a different kind of coaching. Nothing was brought to them, but you take them to a different...
Because a week before, I saw they were just climbing gong hills and doing local training, and yet we want to go
to a different level of
competition.
Yeah, it's tough. So when you get to that level, you get people who have been exposed, people who have been given that level playground, motivated. They'll beat you. They have everything to play for, because the only thing you're playing for is yourself and what you want to achieve, that it's not good enough for you to push to the next level.
It's unfortunate, because then it means you're literally on your own. It's Andrew Amonde going for the Olympics. It's not, there's been no support behind that qualification.
The only support I saw coming in was the last year before the Olympics. Like, we were given a chance to take a team to Dubai, took a team to South Africa, and then there was a team that was taken to Spain. So I think we were trying. We are last minute country, so it's not good enough. Taking them to the last minute tournament does not build those characters that we want. It brushes that the last that they had built during the COVID, but does not expose them enough to be an Olympic side. So that is I think the undoing of us. We want to do it now. Expose them early. Bring these young guys. Like, percentage of the guys who did all those three tournaments did not go to the Olympics. So we were not
even the friendly tournaments.
So we were not exposing our Olympic team. So the tournament that we needed to use to expose our team was cancelled the last minute before we traveled.
Yet we expected a miracle.
Then we expected a miracle. So you say what happened from our first game to our second game? We were losing with a very low score, because we had not been exposed as a team. We had not played together as a team. So that is the time we were trying to build ourselves, to get the character, the things that were working, things that were not working for us. So by the time we were adjusting on the game was gone. Just 14 minutes. The game is gone.
There's no time to settle in. That settling in should have been done with the friendlies,
the friendly tournaments. Yeah, you could have known the character of your team, the guys you need to have on your team. The coach is able to come up with a squad that is able to present as well. So most of the things we were doing, we were just adjusting to the environment that we were in.
And even during COVID, because a different sport, we're talking about, I think it was Harambee Stars we were discussing last week, saying how somebody said, but every country went through COVID. But for me, not every country handled it the same. Kenya, we were still last minute. Have these players been vaccinated? Who's paying for this? Who's doing this? I hosted Omanyala here before Olympics, and he's saying, we're being told to pay for our own vaccinations. Yeah. We don't even have cash, So there are things that as a country we were not managing our sport during that off
COVID period.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was a tough period for everyone, but the issue that we want to say that everybody went through COVID. Not every team went through COVID. They were training. They were doing their things. They were managing their teams. Do you know, Carol, when COVID came in, the first time we were in tour, when we got back on that week, we were told our contracts have been cancelled.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Because there are no more games?
Because there are no more games.
So, jipange?
There is nothing that is going to come in. Where jipange?
And then the government comes up with 10,000 shillings per month.
No, that 10,000
Did that even come to you?
It came to us twice.
A whooping 20K?
Yeah.
Wow.
Twice. And then it ended. And then a few, like a year, not even a year, I would say we did 13 weeks of training. They came to us and you come back to Kenya Sevens. There's no contract, there's nothing. You just come back, we'll see how we'll manage you until you get to the...
We can't be running our sport like this.
That's the expectation they put on the boys, and then the well-being of being somebody who wanted to go to an Olympic or an experienced player who want to present our country. We came back. We knew we didn't have a contract, we didn't have... So most of the things were being pushed off. There nothing that was there to motivate the boys. It was just an Olympic that is there that we needed to go and participate in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. These issues are bigger than I thought. You were selected, though, along with Mercy Moim, to carry the Kenyan flag.
Yes.
That must have been a proud moment.
That was a big one, just for me and for I would say it was a big honor just to be able to present my country, to lift the flag on behalf of all the athletes, just to say that we are here to present our country and to be able to bring the glory that everybody expects from us.
Yeah, expects without investing. I want to name some players and some coaches, and I want you to tell me what comes to mind when I name this player or this coach.
Yes.
Humphrey Kayange.
An experienced player, a captain, somebody who has given a lot to this country as a sportsman, and is still giving out his responsibility at the knock level. I think he's one person who...
at the IOC level.
Yes, he's one person who I've learned a lot from, because after Humphrey is when I came into and to be able to establish myself as a player, and I looked up at him as a captain, and there's a lot that I picked from him, and he inspired me to do much.
Amazing player, amazing individual.
Yes.
Kolo, of course.
Kolo, our trickster, is our card man, because that is the man we go to when we are stuck. A very different character player, and you see Kolo is defined with what he does, and this is something that has rubbed some of the people in a bad way, and that's what Kolo is. You either like him the way he is or you don't like him, and that's what makes him the Kolo you see, the top scorer, being different from everyone. That's what Kolo is.
Because there's a time he was at a bit of loggerheads with the rugby management. I remember he was suspended for a time.
Because he is a player who stands for what he knows, and he's not really good. He's not somebody you can push around and be able to get something out of him. He makes his own decision. He's a brilliant father, a good rugby player, and he's a very good friend. We've played with Kolo for a very long time, and I would have loved to see him still playing, but I hear things have changed at the Kenya Sevens level, and he might not be part of that team. I would have loved to see him just push the boys to the next level, because he still has a lot to give. He's learned a lot over the years, and I think his experience is something that he can still bring back into our squad.
And he's a very funny individual.
Yeah.
And a very good cook. I told him I'd block him, because when I'm trying to lose weight, it doesn't help my life.
Yeah, he's a good chef. This is something I've seen in social media. I'm here to test his food.
You haven't tasted his
food?
No.
I have to look for Kolo to taste his food now that we are off the field.
I've never tasted his food either, but we have an appointment.
Yeah.
The other one who's a very good cook, of course, is Ombachi. Yeah.
Yeah. Ombachi is a young guy. I think Ombachi is one of the guys who cut his career early, because Ombachi had a lot to give to this team, but due to off-pitch things, Ombachi never ended up playing so much for Kenya Sevens. But Ombachi was a brilliant player when he came into Kenya Sevens.
Serious talent.
A very young talent, and somebody we thought would take us to a very different level. Unfortunately, we were able not, as a country, to ground Ombachi and to be able to get what could have offered the team.
Ombachi has been quite vocal on Instagram about mental health.
Yes,
and,
yes.
I know he was going through, I don't want to dwell too much on it because it's a personal issue, but he's been vocal about it.
Yes.
But I feel he would have had so much more
Yes.
to offer our rugby.
Yeah, as one person, I think we didn't get to use his talent to the fully the way we were supposed to use. He's somebody who could have taken us to the places that we dream of going. Those are the guys who could have taken us to those places.
Well, he's also a very good cook, and at some point I need to taste his food as well. William Barker, who's just back from his club, just won
The European Cup.
the European Cup.
Yes. Mbaka is a brilliant player. I think one of the guys who have gone pro in the Kenya 7 system and he still come back to present the country. A very brilliant guy with the ball, a very strong player mentally, and a very good leader. I wish Mbaka would be somebody who would pick up Kenya 7's leadership role and to be able to take us to those great levels that we dream for, because Mbaka is a brilliant player. When given that opportunity and that level playing ground, Mbaka will always deliver, and he's somebody that we have always used to try and get ourselves to play better.
And he has these very big dogs I see on Instagram.
Yes, he has.
Grooms, I think they're Alsatians or something.
He has a German Shepherd
A German
and
Shepherd,
Rottweiler.
Eh?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
he means business.
Yeah.
Billy the Kids.
You know, the first time Billy came into Kenya Sevens, I was walking to Kasarani, we were walking to camp. He was walking just in front of me. I was like, hey, where's this kid? Where's this kid going to? Because everybody had gotten a call up from Mike Friday. So when we got there, he was called Billy the Kid because he was at the under 19, was still at Maseno, and he had gotten his call up to come into Kenya Sevens. So when we met him the first time, we saw he was still young, but he's somebody who has built himself over the years, and he has expressed himself and played very well. And he's somebody we still have at the system, and we still be able to just push the ball for a very long time because he's still young, he's still getting his heydays, and he's playing very well.
And very good natured.
Yeah.
Simiu Namkos.
Wow. You know, I played with Innocent as a player, a very brilliant player. He's coming to technical bench. He's still learning because technical bench is something that takes time to be able to just to get to know the process. He's still going through the process of learning to be a better manager. He's still learning, he's doing his mistakes, he's picking his mistakes, and he's owning up, and he's trying to build as much good as he can as a coach to be able to just raise the standard of Kenya Sevens. In future, Innocent will be somebody who will be looking at the way you see people say McFriday did well with Kenya 7. He'll even do better than what McFriday did because he's come into a system, he's picked young guys now, he's working with younger guys at the system, and I know from his experience, he'll be able to give them a very good level ground and to be able to take them to that level they want to go to.
Mike Friday.
Wow. Yeah.
I have to go there.
Mike Friday. I think Mike Friday came into this country when we needed him the most because that is the time we were at our lowest. He picked us from a mental part of it and built our mental because Mike Friday picked players who didn't believe in themselves and made them believe in themselves. And that is why you see that big transition of Kenya Sevens from where we were to where we are today because of what Mike Friday did mentally and physically to get us to that level.
And he's never forgotten Kenya. Every time I see him, it's like...
Yeah, he fell in love with this country, the fans, they loved him, and I think he felt welcome here and he felt easy to be his next home.
Because he's always tweeting about Kenya.
Yes,
he's always behind Kenya, regardless of which country. He's still
with the
USA. Yeah. Paul True didn't have a long stint, but...
Yeah, I think we kept on building because we had Mike Friday, took us to a different level. Then Paul True came in. Somebody who came with a very big mind of rugby because Mike Friday just used what we have. Paul True built our mental strength, built our rugby from scratch. You could know what to do with the ball whenever you had it, at what position, what you needed to do because Paul True is a different coach. Paul True is a mental coach. He builds players from a zero level to another level of understanding of the game because Paul True made us understand because we just used to walk into a scrum. We didn't know the technique of using a scrum. We used just to walk to interline out because we had tall guys who could win the ball. But Paul True made us understand why do we do this line out at this level? Why do we do this scrum? Why do we kick this ball at this point? Why do we need to run? He just made us to have a very good understanding of sport. And he's somebody, if we had kept for another year or two, think we could be speaking of a different Kenya at this level.
Why didn't we keep him? Because I know there was a lot of politics within
Yeah,
the union, and I don't really want to go there.
It's unfortunately we do our sports closely to our politics, and this is something that has affected us over the years. You see, we had people like Paul True, Mike Friday being sent off because of politics, and these are people who could have just made a very big difference in this country.
I felt, but there were, the rumors, of course, that you hear on social media is that the players were not supporting Paul True because he was too much of a disciplinarian.
I don't think that was the big idea about it. I think it's just the thing that we were speaking about, giving that level ground, because people like Paul True would not come into these grounds without giving that level ground of play. He would not come here without players not having contracts. He would not entertain using that gym, because with all those technical coaches, they never used this gym. That is one thing they refused to use. We used to train at Brookhouse. So you see, they changed that.
So because he's demanding the highest level of professionalism.
Yeah. So they could not afford to keep it. Yeah.
So that's what we need to go to the next level.
See, when we are looking at improving our team, we don't allow mediocrity to come in. Yeah. Because when you allow it, there is something that will give in. It's either a performance or something else. But keeping people like Paul True was a big pain to Kenya Rugby, because the expectation, what they had from Kenya Rugby, had to be the same level as what is done in South Africa. So that is something that Kenya Rugby...
Because you're going to compete with South Africa.
Yeah, if you need to compete with South Africa, you have to put them on the same level as South Africa.
Will you ever consider going into coaching?
Yes.
I haven't even finished the sentence.
Yeah, this is something I'm working on. It's just good enough for me to just come in and to be able to assist, because I've learned over the years I'm still doing my coaching levels. So if I'm done with
you're adding your coaching levels?
Yes, and I'm transitioning slowly. I don't want to take it something like an abrupt that I have to just come in. I'll take my time out, build myself, come back as a better person to be able to assist and to be able to just see how we can be able to help as a good sportsmanship.
Just to talk quickly about sponsorship and branding and stuff like that. We seem to be a few light years behind other countries when it comes to athlete branding and club branding.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? What do we need to do to attract more money in this game?
I think the biggest thing is just having sponsors coming into some of these sports that we do. Like in a club level, this is where we suffer the most. So you see the teams that are performing at the moment, those are teams that are sponsored. You see the teams that are struggling the most are teams that are using handouts to perform. So it's very difficult to put them at the same level as KCB or Cabras, because those are fully contracted teams, fully sponsored. They are fully branded. You see, when they're playing over the weekend, they have their branded buses, they have their branded clothes. So when you play a team like, let me say, these upcoming teams that have no sponsors, they come to struggle because they cannot retain players. Most of them end up going to these big clubs because of the sponsorship or the allowances. So these are things that we are appealing. If we are able to get sponsors to come in at club levels, at national level, we are able to perform, because they'll build that atmosphere that everybody wants to be. And we'll get more players, we get more talent. We're able to retain more players in a system who will be able to bring that results that everybody is yearning for.
What can we, the fans, do?
I think
critics and coaches.
I think the fans, they are doing their role. The more we get criticized, the more we learn.
But sometimes they're just bullies.
Sometimes I know they are bullies, but there's a lot that comes out from the critics that the fans give out, because they don't ever judge person who does well. When you don't perform at the level, they will always tell you, but some of them don't understand why a team does not perform well.
Exactly.
There's a lot that comes for a team, because nobody walks in the field to lose. We always give everything that we have. That when we give everything and what we have given is not enough, there are times that they have to understand this is the best we could give. That's the only appeal that we can give our fans. But their criticism is very welcome, because those are the things that builds that player.
Yeah, but within reason. Within reason and understanding. That's what I always ask. Within reason and understanding. Kisumu, your boyhood club, so to speak, doesn't do so well.
Yeah, because of the same things we are talking about, sponsorship. because nobody invests in Kisumu, nobody invests in these upcoming squads, because they have to use the handouts to get themselves to a national level, to the league level. So when they get to a top league level without a sponsor, they have to honor matches in Nairobi every weekend. They have to be paid allowance. So if they don't have that money, it's a program that is as good as dead. Because when they start, they keep on struggling, they keep on missing their league games, they end up being relegated. So,
what advice would you give to my youth?
Someone
in high school now, someone in college now, wants to become a professional rugby player. What do they need to know?
So because everybody wants to be, not only rugby, any sports. If you want to get into any sports, you must be disciplined, because there's a lot that happens around. And for me, like a player, there are always two things, the values that drives me. Be disciplined, work hard. Those are the only things that you need yourself to arm yourself with to be able to perform well and to be able to be picked.
Discipline and hard work.
Yeah.
When I was asking about players, I forgot to ask you about the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
What are your views on the ladies' game? Philo and her team.
Yeah, because that is one team that, if it's given the good playing field and good sponsorship, that is the team that can go to the World Cup and take this country to the World Cup before even the Kenya 15th.
Hey, women's rugby.
You see, I saw them play the Olympic Games, and I saw them play their repechage, and the friendly they played with South Africa. You know, South Africa is going to the World Cup. That is a side that, if well-natured, if Kenya Rugby can come out and get them a proper sponsor, because most of the things that they use is from what they get from Kenya Sevens or from Kenya Simbas. The handouts that is left is what they use to sponsor those ladies. So if
they still perform.
Yes, they still perform. So they don't even have a league.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, the Kenyan women do not even have a league, and you can expect them to compete with teams like South Africa who have leagues. Madagascar, that came in here and beat us in Nairobi here. You know, that team has a league at their level, at their national level. They have a ladies league. And our country does not have a ladies league. They only have these tournaments that they play the 10s. And 10s rugby and 7s rugby is not the same as 15s that you want them to compete at.
And even 7s only come as invitational.
Yes. So if you're able to expose them, give them as, not even the same, because there are no standards that they're giving the 15 side. If they're able to raise their standard, bring more sponsors, get them a different sponsors from what they get from the men, those ladies will be able to perform. We'll be able to get even more ladies coming into rugby, because for now, they depend on the same faces. You don't see many changes in their faces. Yeah. The same ladies who played at the club level, the same ladies who play 7s, who play 15s, and the same ladies who are in the same level. If you're able to invest in those teams, start a league at a grassroots, get ladies playing rugby, not here in Nairobi, Nakuru, everywhere. We'll get more sports ladies coming into this rugby. We'll get them coming into a level that we know they'll be able to come to a national level, and we'll be able to nurture the good ones to be able to get a good side that will be able to take us to a World Cup. You want to go to a World Cup. It's not a last-minute thing like they did the other time. 3 months to qualifiers, you bring ladies from everywhere to try and qualify. And then they come close, and now you see that we can do this thing. If you started it, you could have seen it very early.
It shouldn't be an accident.
Yeah.
You should have invested.
It should not be something that you are hoping that will happen. This is something you invest in and you get your result. If they started early, an year before they did this, they could have qualified.
Even Olympics, I remember they didn't even have money to go for qualifiers. Was it in Tunisia?
You know, they were lucky to go from Olympic because they didn't qualify for that Olympics. They were beaten by South Africa. It's only that South Africa pulled out from the Olympics. That's why where we got our. So we are able to qualify ourselves to go to an Olympic if we are just well-natured. Yeah.
Wow. Any parting shots before we let you go? This has been an honor.
Thank you. So I would just say sport is growing in this country, and I would still call on the government, sponsors, come in and assist sports, not only in rugby, football, handball, because the last time we went to an Olympic, I realized why you see China winning more medals, you see more US winning more medals, because they have different sports disciplines.
And they've invested in all of them.
Because they're bringing their top. Us, we depend only on athletes. And we had a team sport of rugby, volleyball, and javelin, and boxing. we had like the least teams at the Olympics.
And a lot of the disciplines we do well are like individual sports.
Yes.
So it's somebody's individual effort.
So if you're able
it
to,
can't be a fluke in a team sport.
yeah, if you're able to invest in most of the sports that every team every country is investing in, I think we can have more expectation at our Olympics. At when we go to Olympics, we are not going to just expect gold and silvers and any from just athletes.
From long distance.
We can now start doing athletes. We cannot do that. I saw even that at the Olympics. Nobody. We saw people skating. These are things that youths in Kenya are doing now, but we are not nurturing such things.
In fact, I was disappointed the other day when we were holding the World Under-20 Championship, and they were saying we didn't qualify for any of the field events.
Wow.
We were there by virtue of being hosts. So I was like, honestly, you can't tell me we don't have high jumpers and long jumpers and and
wow.
and
I saw somebody jumping that the thing that you jump and just land, jumping, standing still. I was like, how do we do this as a country? These are things we can bring professionals to help from if you can jump standing, how can maybe get better at jumping when you get the right skills? Huh? It was tough. I was like,
we're laughing, but it's not a laughing.
It's tough. As a country, we're doing badly, and I think the government needs to step in our sports.
Yet the raw talent is there. We have an unemployment crisis, which means so many people could be employed.
Just imagine how many people can be employed if we start investing in all of the sports that we have in this country. A lot of work opportunity would be open. More coaches would be employed. More physios. People would be employed in this country.
Actually, there's so much industry around sports.
Yes, and this is something I think we have not tapped as a country. We are doing something, but it's not good enough to take us to a very high level that we want to get there.
We need to get serious in sport.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew Amonde, thank you so much.
Asante sana.
I know you're such a busy man. I know you need to celebrate still because of winning the league.
Yeah, it was nice winning that league because it's something that we did for ourselves. We did for one of us who broke his leg. And it's something we're going to play for a very long time until the next season starts.
Next season.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Asante.
Guys, thank you so much for watching Radull Live. We'll see you again next week.